I did 3 of the worst grinds in Classic EverQuest, and I can't believe what happened. I just got to level 45 in the Dreadlands after grouping with Level Up Larry, and my goal over the next few days is to get to level 51 so I can get started on something I would not enjoy doing. I do one of the biggest swarms to date in the Dreadlands to help me power through the hell level that is 45. For most players, this level takes forever, but Bard soloing is really powerful. I get to 98%. Then an opportunity happened I couldn't pass up. This is the city of Mist, or Torsus, a major Ixar city that fell to ruin over time. Level Up Larry started his stream and I joined him. We set up camp at a spot called Stables, just around the corner from the entrance. Group went smooth and I got to 46, out of hell level finally. I used to be behind levels compared to Level Up Larry and Syriax, but I finally outpassed him. The next day I get a group at the most popular camp in City of Mist. It's called Moat. Right outside this giant building with nasty mobs inside, there's a bunch of spawns nearby to pull. I think we had someone role-playing. It was really rare to see. Like, Rimrock does that, but the tank here also was role-playing as her barbarian self, these short, guttural answers. It's kind of cool. Our enchanter was just on the ball with crowd control and DPSing with his charm pet. It felt kind of useless. But later on, I messed up bad. So we ran out of easy stuff to kill, so our monks started to pull the danger stuff in the building. The group moved around the corner to protect us if the pull went ugly. It goes okay until I make one mistake, and this is all I see. Black screen. So I accidentally tagged the monk with a bard song. The pack aggroed onto me. One of them was a shaman, blinded me, then I died without even seeing what the heck happened. Went from basically being the next level to 77% experience in a single death. Hours worth of play. The experience loss is brutal as you get higher level. Fortunately, the tank logged over to the cleric and gave me a 96% res, so I got all that experience back. Thank you so much. Got that level 47 ding, and then I found this funny exploit you can do. We lost our tank and had no one who could snap aggro. I had a hard time letting go of aggro because I was snaring, slowing, and mezzing. So I noticed you could play with a mob. Like if you step off this platform into the moat, the mob is programmed that has to go the complete other way around to get you. It's kind of silly. Oh, I'm gonna get you. Where'd you go? I'm gonna get you. Where'd you go? It's like stupid cat and mouse game. It looks dumb, but no one took damage when I did this. So who needs a tank, you know? And I also liked how you could slowly bring a mob to camp as the current one's nearly dead. So I'd see a repop across the pond, tag it with a snare. With the snare, it was forced to take its sweet old time to get to camp. I mean, you almost didn't even need mezzing or roots here if you had a snare and levitate. I really love that quirk about this camp. It was time. A big part of the game is the social aspect of it. It was time to join a guild, and I can't believe who invited me. Rimrock. Yeah, the guy who made the banded armor for me months ago. I'm still wearing now in this video. Since then, he got his Shadow Knight epic. So congratulations on that sweet looking weapon. And when he did it, GMs came in and then ogre bombed everyone, illusioned them. So I'm swarming again. Diablo 4 launched right around this time, and then everybody stopped playing P99 or something. The next few days, I just couldn't find any groups online during primetime hours on the weekend. That's how bad it was. So my only choice was to Storm. So I get to 48 here. Nice level for Swarm Kiting because you get another AoE dot song. And then the next day, my jaw dropped from what happened. I had a hard time accepting it. I pulled another big swarm in the Dreadlands. And there was this druid who was running by, who happened to be a guildie, and he helped me burn down the last few stragglers. He saw me in banded armor, and he had this bard alt that was just decked out in gear, but he never really played it. So he offered to give me all that stuff, because he wasn't using it. I couldn't accept it at first. What he was going to give me was just too much, you know, but I was okay with it if he was willing to take all the money I had as some sort of compensation. It was around 1,000 plat or something. Took all these levels to save that much up. And he ended up giving me almost a full set of lambent armor. This is a huge boost for my survivability and stats, and I look really cool now. I gave him that 1,000 plat, and he ported me back to the Dreadlands. And I'd later do a swarm that would take me to level 49, but man, thank you so much for that gift. That was really kind of you, man. Really kind. I logged on the next day. Diablo 4, no groups again, so let's swarm a different zone. Burning Woods. The trick with this zone is to pull all the skellies, swafts, and gorillas you see, except for one named gorilla that is. You pull them all to this clearing in the north by the Skyfire Mountain zone line. There's this rock that you kind of run around. Levitate is huge here because it's very hilly. You also want invis up if possible, because there's a lot of wandering mobs that you don't want to aggro on mistake. It'll ruin your entire swarm. It takes like 15 to 30 minutes to gather a decent sized swarm here, so you really don't want to goof it up. Then I finally got an opportunity to group, and I couldn't believe who it was. It was on my checklist, actually. I ran myself the long distance to Velkator's Labyrinth, a Velius dungeon full of verticality and slippery floors, good for the late 40s to max level, and I got to group with the cost.
So I woke up, what the f?
You better be.
He's playing his Cleric Fled here. He got a 7-day ban from a GM, and it just got lifted this particular day, so he fired up a big comeback stream, and I got to team up with him. The Cost, if you don't know him, is one of the biggest EQ streamers on Twitch right now, if not the biggest. I've finally grouped with and or interacted with the 3 biggest EQ streamers at the current point, being Level Up Larry, Barthorn, and then now a Cost. It's awesome. This dude can play. We killed these spiders that really didn't drop sellable loot, wasn't good for money. Experience also felt kind of slow. One thing is starting to get stressful though. So bards have really bad level caps on their earliest crowd control songs. I can only mez up to level 45, and I'm frequently going into camps where mobs are higher than that. So one of my core jobs as a crowd controller, I can't even do it. Now I'm able to charm up to 51, but it's just not sustainable. Anyways, I finally get to level 50, 10 more to max level. But I heard it explained that the experience to go from like 50 to 60 is like just as long as to go from 1 to 50. It's how grindy it gets. To finish for the night, I finally get to use the Over There Hammer. It's required to be level 50 to proc it, and I just got to level 50. And the first person I use it on is a Cost. The next day was the most hectic group I've ever had so far. Just pure chaos. I was stressed out from swarm kiting, so I wanted to solo a bit safer and less dependent on lag. Charm kiting in the Dreadlands. It's a decent experience. It's basically, you pull a few mobs, you use charm to get them to fight each other, and then you finish off the mob when it's basically dead. It's a quicker way to kill a mob than using dots alone. And you don't have to worry about lag spikes killing you like with swarm kiting, because you can keep distance. Later on, I was able to group in Carnor's castle, the dungeon right in the middle of the Dreadlands. Probably the most memorable dungeon for EQ players. I've been trying to get a group here for days, but no one was online. Again, Diablo 4, but I get a group this day, finally. The most popular camp, LCY, Left Courtyard. So I've been trying to group here for one big item, but I didn't get it for a long time. Malchus, the monk, does an excellent job pulling here, but we have a huge problem in this group. There's no healer. The best we got are my Bard regen songs and the Necro health transfers. Very, very risky to rely on. So I pull a trick out of the Bard playbook. Is there a way to not need healing? Yeah. So I snare the mobs so they can't run fast, and then I hit them with fear. Mobs can't hit us if they're running away. Pain to chase the mob down, everyone has to constantly move. But I can't fear kite when I have to mez, so the pulls were crazy and no healer to save us. I was ripping my hair out, but at the same time it was a lot of fun living on the edge like this. We finally get a healer. A guilty cleric swings by along with Camwise, throws us some buffs, and gets to see the beautiful blue plate he gave me. The pulls are still insane, making me work, man. We got 4 mobs at one time. It was just a struggle to keep charm up and mez all this mess. And guess who joins us later? Rimrock. So we needed a tank. This is the first time ever I grouped with him. Amazing. Teaming up with everybody in this video. But we had a full room repop. He couldn't rip aggro off of me because of how much hate I built with Mez. Fortunately, we had a clerics and 96% res, so not a big deal. Except, once I died, there were 3 or so mobs in camp with no means of crowd control. So it quickly overwhelmed them. They had to run, and several of them died in the process. So I get res to the entrance, but the monk in the group, he got aggro on mobs, my bard songs hit him, and then I take a stupid second death while I'm recovering from the first. So that was pretty frustrating. We eventually regroup at the entrance and work our way to a camp called Handroom. The zone is fully popped, so we had to kill everything in the way. But I love dungeon crawls like this. It's a really fun thing to do in the game. It's kind of sad you don't get to do this that much. So as we get to the upper portion of the castle, the pulls get more and more hectic, more mezzing required. This one was a mess. So we finally get to the hand room. We're just right outside it, and I try to split it open with Lol. Of course, it critically resists, 4 mobs coming that are just huge. They all look the same. So I kind of struggle to figure out what's the right one I'm supposed to refresh Mez on. So I'm taking a lot of damage here because Mezes are failing a lot, and I'm building a lot of aggro on each. But we eventually get there. We claim our spot in hand room after God knows how long it took to get there. And then soon to be ripped right from our hands. So we just get to camp, and I start screaming in group chat, "Run! Run! Run!" On P99, there's a special quirk to the server that's definitely not classic, but maybe twice a month there'll be an earthquake. And that's a sign that all the mobs on the server are going to respawn right now. We got to get the hell out of this room before that happens, or we're gonna die. So I throw Silos and Levitate up, and we just book it for the entrance. Earthquakes just create chaos everywhere. Every raid mob respawns, and it's a mad dash by every single guild to kill as many as possible. The server will go from 1,000 population to 2,000 just like that. When earthquakes happen, all groups are over. It's time to raid. Except for one particular bard. So why is level 51 the goal I wanted to reach? Convenience. Bard speed, levitate, and invis all in one package. I have a lot of running to do. Traveling is going to be a lot safer and more convenient, leaving 1 song up instead of trying to twist 3. Also, at level 51, I'm high enough to easily solo all the necessary grinds that I've been pushing off. I need to get a key. I run to Trakanon's Teeth, this deep jungle zone with wandering high-level Froglock Shaman that see through invis, and I end up killing a Froglock Forager and Hunter, fast-running and beefy mobs. I kill them on the zone walls to avoid pathers from joining the fight, and once I have a medallion for both of them, I run to a crypt, the burial place of the last ruler of the Ixar Empire, Emperor Ganak. Upon receipt of the 2 medallions, he gives me the key to his capital city of Sebelis, which fell to the dragon Trakenon a long time ago. Sebelis is an N-tier dungeon for Carnor. Not time yet, but I'll go to it eventually. The next order of business was Velius. I made it to the dragon city of Skyshrine, and to access the next zone over, I need to kill this Drake Paladin for a key, Ziglark Whisperwing. So my first attempt didn't go so well. I had to zone, but when I zoned back in, Ziglark was right there at the entrance. I started the work to kill him, and it was really difficult. He had high hit point regen, the ability to heal himself with Paladin, and could root me. So I mostly ran around in circles while snaring him and dotting him to death. Fortunately, I got help. I helped the cleric out, and he eventually met up with me here in Skyshrine, threw me out a few heals, and then helped me actually finish off Ziglark. So thank you so much, Bonds. That was really appreciated. People are really helpful in this game. Really can't believe how helpful the next guy would be. So with the key, I got access to the latter half of the Icy Continent. I zoned into Cobalt Scar, and picked up a tooth on the ground in this enclosure. To be granted access to port into the various druid/wizard rings on the continent, you're required to grab a ground spawn item from said portal ring. The Cobalt Scar tooth, it's the final one, and it backflags you for all the prior portal spots on the continent. So while I was here, I wanted to pick up an instrument upgrade. So in the Awakening Lands, there are these fawn creatures, which have a better wind instrument than the one I've been using since level 10 or something. Did some charm kiting here and got that flute upgrade. This was the worst camp of them all. I was intent on completing the Lambent Bracers quest. It was a stat upgrade. It was the one Lambent piece that Camwise didn't have. I learned why. So I killed a hill giant North Karana and looted a Lambent Stone. I'll later combine that to make the final gemstone needed for the quest easy. But I had to stay in North Karana for griffins. So there's 4 main griffins that can spawn. You have low level ones, high level ones, a beefy one for a ranger armor quest, and then a very specific one I need is the mid-level version called the Griffins with the E's. Every spawn was almost always the low-level version. I only saw maybe 7 to 8 of the type I needed over 3 days of grinding here. The mob itself is a rare spawn, and I need a rare drop coming from a rare spawn, so kind of double the suck, if you will. And to make matters worse, the griffins have multiple spawn points all over, so I had to run circles around the zone over and over just looking for this one specific mob. So I started up a stream to share the misery. Over 12 hours spent in this zone. I just want to leave. Well, let's go to my live reaction. Wasn't that great? Oh, another chance, another chance. Here we go, here we go. Third griffing of the stream. Come on. That's it. We got it, guys. We got it. We got it, guys. We can leave this damn zone. I run to the temple Solasek Row. I hand the gem, Unrest Bracer, and Graphene Charm. Bam. Lambent Bracers, full blue. Next order of business, I need to replace my bags. Shraylock packs, they weigh less, can carry more, and reduce the weight of what's inside, 25%. So I had to fill up my inventory. They drop off a mob called Rekfek Shraylock. I first tried in High Pass. He can only spawn in one spot up here on this perch, but the odds are pretty bad. So there's like 4+ mobs that could be placeholders, so Rekfek is unlikely to spawn. One of the spawns is Vopuk Shraylock. He drops the Shiny Brass Idol, which is coveted by endgame raiders. It's a 1 charge invulnerability clicky. I later sold it for 500 plat in the Common Lands tunnel, along with some bone chips I saved up. Nice money. But I spent something like 4 to 6 hours at the spot, and I never saw a Rekfek once. Mind you, this spawn is on a 5-minute timer, so there were 72 times where he could have spawned, but he didn't. That's how bad it was. So after I finished the Lambent quest on stream, I tried out the High Pass camp again, and I got contacted by a GM. Uh-oh, that's never good. GMs generally only come out when you're in trouble. Here's my reaction. Oh, I got hit up by a GM. Just wanted to say nice YouTube channel. Oh, thank you. Oh, you just popped out of nowhere. Not every day you see GMs. Fortunately, it went good, and I'd see them again soon. The next day was the craziest luck I've ever had. So I tried the other spot in Kithakor. It's down near the lake. This zone is dangerous because high-level undead spawn in at night, but this specific area of the zone is safe regardless. The undead don't come around here. Every 7 minutes at this one spot, a spider or Rekfek will spawn. That's it. I was able to replace all my bags in short of 2 hours. I think Rekfek has a better chance to spawn here just because there's only one other placeholder, unlike in High Pass. So I had maybe like 8 to 9 spider spawns next to 6 Rekfek spawns. It was that common. It was weird to go from no bags at all, like spending half a day here, to then getting all of them in 2 hours. Now for the second worst camp after Graphines. Ocean of Tears. So I got to this one island at the same time as 2 other people, and it was kind of awkward. Usually there's a list who gets to go first. It was kind of hard to decide what. So the druid struck first, he attacked first, and then the next spawn, his luck was incredible. One placeholder, 6 minutes later, it popped. The Ancient Cyclops. He drops a ring I'll need for an important piece of gear. So the druid was able to leave in like 10 minutes after entering the zone. I, on the other hand, would not be so lucky. So the thing about this camp is you have to form a line. You gotta wait your turn. So since 3 of us got here at the same time, it's kind of hard to say who had first dibs. So the druid attacked first, so he could say he claimed spot number 1, but then who's gonna be next up? Is it gonna be Kalmik or myself? Kalmik, I hope you're watching. You did me one of the biggest favors ever, man. Thank you so much. He took the initiative to make the line. He had full rights to say he was next up for the drop. Kalmik chose to put me first in line. No discussion. And that was really kind of him because he did not know what he was getting into with that decision. The biggest thing he did, there's a few placeholders on this camp, and the most common one is a regular Cyclops, and they're just so beefy. Kalmik was a mage. He brought his DPS to help me kill these Cyclops in like 1 to 2 minutes. So what? If I had to kill them by myself, it would have taken 5 times as long. It would have really dragged out the camp. So Kalmik helping me out was huge. And Kalmik didn't just do this once, he didn't do it twice. 5 hours straight. Kalmik helped me kill the placeholder that spawned every 6 minutes for 5 hours straight. I cannot stress how much of a pain in the it had to be for him to do that. And that was one of the kindest things I've ever experienced playing EverQuest for over a decade. So thank you so much, man. I hope you're watching to hear this. I got kind of bored at the camp and I hit up someone I wasn't supposed to. Vorday, the GM, I asked them to illusion me to troll people, you know, trying to camp a Cyclops, so made me a giant Cyclops. Anybody running by would think the name had spawned. But I think Vorday knew they couldn't leave me as a Cyclops, so she turned me and Kalmik into Froglocks. Still pretty cool. It was pretty funny. And I was able to do something really silly at this camp. So I ran out into the water, the ocean, charmed a beast and brought it onto shore. Land shark. Yeah, land shark. So I don't think it can attack you while it's on land. So I tried to slowly slim back into the water when it's free. It looks so ridiculous on land. 5 hours later, the Ancient Cyclops finally spawned for me. I got the Ring of the Ancients. Part 1 of the quest. I stayed a bit longer because I felt like I owed Kalmik that at least, but he didn't get any spawn within the next hour or so. Felt bad. Next part of the quest, I needed to kill Shadowed Men. So I saw this guy taking them out in the Common Lands. I tried killing Shadowed Men in Nectalos Forest and Lava Storm Mountains. No luck in Nectalos, but I got the item's second respawn in Lava Storm, the Shadowed Rapier. And with that, then I headed down to the Wraith Mountains. But when I got there, couldn't have everything go my way that day, so Brother Zephyl was up. He's this monk epic quest guy. He's on the same spawn table for the guy I need, but he's basically unkillable outside of a raid force, and he won't despawn for 4 hours. That was basically the rest of the night, so I just had to log off. But the problem is that the Shadowed Rapier, it will disappear from my inventory when I do log off. So all that work I did trying to kill the Shadowed Men is just for nothing. So I kind of had to cheese the mechanics of the game. So if you leave a no rent item on a corpse, it won't vanish when you log off. So I had a wizard kill me, and then a cleric nearby res me back. I had a bit of time left, so I was going to try it for the second to last item I needed. I ran to the Lake Ill Omen and kept killing placeholders that spawned every 30 seconds or so. Eventually the named I wanted spawned, the Sarnak Courier. Didn't drop it the first try. Not that long later, it spawned again, and I couldn't believe what happened. I got the Goblin Gazugi Ring, a very, very, very valuable clicky item, and I got so lucky here. I got this after 90 minutes of trying. I've done this camp God knows how many times in the past. At one time, it took me 30 hours before I got this item. It frequently takes people a week to get this ring, and I just got it in 90 minutes. This camp has the potential to be the worst camp out of every single one of them I just did, and I got it after 90 minutes. I needed to hit the slot machine. So I have a video on how to get this item on P99 and on live. The mechanics are different, but all in one day. I got full Straylock packs, 99% of the way to a special item, and the Goblin Gazugi Ring. Guys, I've never had luck in EQ like this. This is incredible. I logged on a few days later. I picked up that Shadowed Rapier for my corpse, ran back to Wraith Mountains, and by luck would have it, Zephyl wasn't up, Haston Bootstrutter was. The exact gnome I need. So he offers a quest for one of the most valuable clickies in game. So if you hand him 325 plat worth of gold, the Shadowed Rapier, and the Ring of the Ancients, he will give you an item called the Journeyman's Boots, J-Boots. Instant cast, run speed buff, usable by all classes. In a game, mind you, that takes forever to get from point A to point B, this is huge for the majority of classes which don't have a run speed buff at all. Now, as a bard, it's not as important, but this is a second line of defense for when Silos drops, and it's somewhat necessary for raids, but I won't get into that. So this was it. I finished all the grinds with that final turn in. It's time to play. But there's still one item missing, and I need a group for it. I got a group again in Carnor's castle in left courtyard. They were kicking butt. It was mezzing, charming, pumping mana, and boy, I was glad to do that instead of farming some damn spawn. Names were popping like crazy. So that Goblin Gazugi Ring I got, what's it for? Invisibility versus animals. The buff itself is completely worthless. There's never a point at all in the game where you need invisibility against animals, but it's probably the most important tool in a bard and enchanter's arsenal. The type of invisibility doesn't matter at all. What matters is for bards and enchanters, I think it might be the only instant cast invisibility item in the game for them. Any form of invisibility will instantly break charm, and there's times in groups where you don't want to wait the full 18 seconds for bard charm to wear off, you want to break it immediately. But it's even more important for charm kiting. If a mob dies before you break charm, you lost all that experience. At the same time, if you break the charm too early, that'll take longer to finish the mob off. So the sweet spot to break a charm is below 10%, but the only way to reliably break charm is using an instant cast item like the Goblin Kazuki Ring. That's why it's so important. But back with the group, the druid turned us all to wolf form. I was a doggy. We got a bunch more named. There was one item I chose to group in Carnors for, and it dropped. There's a guildie who was soloing at the entrance, and the Singing Steel boots dropped for him. I offered him 600 plat, it's sold. Clicky Levitation, that's for group wide, and it lasts for about 5 minutes. So I finally got a Clicky Run Speed buff, and now Clicky Levitation. What more could you ask? So the video is going to end here. Thank you to my audience for watching, and thank you so much to the special people who helped me in this episode. See you in the next one.